What's up, everybody? I'm Randy. Of course, this is the 5-5 Garage, and today I will be showing you all how I am installing a roll bar from Hard Dog Fabrications in my Mazda Miata. If you've been following the channel, and you should be following the channel, you will know that I've been making some improvements and modifications to my 1996 Mazda Miata. I have upgraded the suspension, I have added some creature comforts on the inside, and now I'm going to be addressing a issue of safety by adding in a roll bar from Hard Dog Fabrications. Now, Hard Dog offers up a bunch of different roll bar configurations. Personally, I went with the M1 Sport. They also have one that's known as the Hardcore, as well as the M2. Now, I have a NA Miata, which is the first generation, so I decided to go with the M1. And since this car won't be seeing full-time track duty, I went with the M1 Sport, which was recommended by Hard Dog for a car that'll see some light racing, but is also still street driven. Now, a lot of people tend to go with the M2 bar, and the difference is that the rear supports are curved, so in case you have a glass rear window like you would on an MB, it allows the roll bar to clear the window without damaging it. But since my car is going to spend the majority of its time with the hard top on, I just went ahead and decided to go with the M1 Sport because it lets me run a harness bar so I can add some harnesses later on. So the installation of the roll bar requires a lot of disassembly of the interior of the car. So I came home early today from work, and I'm going to start with taking apart the interior of my car. Now, as I'm looking at the weather right now, it's a little bit cloudy. Hopefully it won't rain, so I can keep my other car, Mazda Speed 3, pushed out of here so I have enough room to work. But my goal is to try to tear down as much of the interior that I can today, and then tomorrow I can begin finishing up the installation. So, with all that said, I'm just going to jump right into it. To get started, first thing I do is remove the seats, and for that you will need a 14mm socket. Oh, I noticed you checking in about my Corvo seats. These are part of the new interior that I'm putting together, so you guys get a bonus. You can see my new seats. Now that we got the seats removed, the next thing that you're going to have to take off is this torso trim and remove the weather stripping from around the door. And to give you guys a little tip, you remove the bolts from your seat, I like to go ahead and just thread them back into the holes. That way when you go to put the seat back in, you know where the bolts are. Once you got the trim off, you need to remove this cap from both sides, and it has these bolts right here, which remove by 10mm, and then there's a Phillips head screw you got. Now that you've got the trim off, the next piece you need to remove is this interior brace. It's got two plastic covers on the end that just lift off. And to take this bolt out, you're going to need a 17mm socket. With the interior brace out of the way, next thing you got to remove is the side hardtop latches. On some cars, you will have the T40 security bolts, but on mine, I just have 10mm bolts. Then we're going to remove the seat belts, and this takes a 17mm bolt here and down here. There's a little plastic, almost like a trim little button that you have to remove I just used a small blade on my Swiss Army knife to pop it out. Just be careful. Don't like yank on this because you will crack and break this plastic piece. Next up, we now have to pop these little plastic trim pieces and remove this piece of cardboard. And you can use a screwdriver. There's a trim removal tool you can use as well. I'm just going to use this. Found a trim removal tool. For those who don't know, this car is an NA8C, and on those cars, the ECU is mounted behind the passenger. On an NA6, it's actually in the passenger front footwell. Now, you do have a couple more clips to take out, and those are going to be around the back of the top area, which means you've got to put the top on. I'm going to take a short break, figure out how I'm going to get my camera mounted in here, and then I will see you guys in the car. Here we are in the car, and now what we need to do is remove those trim buttons, and then we can get this upper piece of carpet out of the car. And hopefully we can do this somewhat fast because with the light in here, it is a little toasty. Hey, how's it going? Okay, now that we got the carpet out, we can begin removing some of these interior panels. I know that this one has to come out, as well as cover for the gas tank and the cover for the gas filler, I believe, but I will double check. And we can also remove these side trim panels. And in order to get this cover off, kind of pull it out a little bit, and then you can lift up on it, and there is a metal clip that is holding it in, and once you pop it out, it should come free like that, and then you can I can get my hands out of the way so you guys can see, and just feed the belt through and remove this. Next, we can go ahead and remove the seat belt mechanism, and that is a 10mm socket. Once you remove the 10mm, move the belt aside, and there is a 17mm that's down underneath. And now comes the fun part. Got to remove all these 10mm bolts. No, if I was really smart, I would have timed this and replaced my top at the same time. If I was smart. Now the bolts are out, we can take this panel out. Be careful, this is sheet metal. It may have sharp edges, so just watch where you put your hands. Okay, now that we have the gas tank cover panel removed, we now need to pay attention to the area around the ECU. Now, over here, we're going to have to make some changes to how this ECU mounts up. Basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to trim this panel about here, about halfway, and then this half of the bracket plus this mounting stud will have to be removed before I can install the roll bar. This mounting stud has to be removed for So for this next step, I have my rotary tool, and don't forget safety glasses. Now, I gotta go trim the ECU. So as you can see, I have trimmed off my ECU. This is ready to go back on, but we got another step to do. Okay, according to the instructions on the Hard Dog site, you're required to trim back some of this package tray area so that the down legs of the roll bar will be able to fit in here without rubbing. So you can use multiple things to do this. You can use a Dremel. I'm just going to use some tin snips, and basically you're going to follow and cut this area out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some slits on either side and then see if I can use my hammer to persuade these just to bend down and out of the way. And then when you're doing this, make sure you're careful, because there are wires and things running back here. Make sure you don't accidentally cut anything. And wear some gloves. This is sheet metal, and as you start to cut it, it is very sharp. Alright, better living through applied science. Now do the other side. After finishing the excruciating task of cutting that rear package tray and managing to escape with all 10 of your fingers still attached, then comes the fun part, which is the test fit. Here we are. This is your seatbelt mechanism that you took out of the car. And before we replace this back into the car, we have to do a little bit of work. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is this plastic trim piece right here. This gets cut off. And then we need to remove these two rivets so that this top guide piece will come off, so that your belt will not get trapped behind the roll bar. So you can cut off this little trim piece with just like some scissors or some snips or something, but you're probably going to need a Dremel to get this off. And since we will be using a cutting device and there's going to be sparks and stuff flying, make sure to wear your safety glasses as well. I'm going to put some gloves on just in case. Now we can begin to put the seatbelt reels back in the car. And first thing we're going to do is there's a little clip that goes on here that helps this bolt stay on here. Go ahead and remove that as well. Remove the bolt and these washers. You're not going to end up using them. So put those to the side. And what you're going to need to do is, I have the bar in the car, but I got to push forward a little bit. So I want to put the reel back in place where it goes. Then, making sure that wire's out of the way, go ahead and push the bar back up and into place. And then you're going to thread in the stock bolt into the lower mounting bolt. Once you got your bolts threaded in on both sides, don't tighten them yet, just get them started. And then we need to work on the upper bolt for the seatbelt. You can take this bolt from your kit with the little special cone washer and this is a spacer that's under stock. Go ahead and remove this, because this is going to replace it. Alright, now that you got the upper bolt started and you have the lower seatbelt bolt in, go through your bag of bolts that you get with the roll bar and look for these. You should have two of them. These are for the upper seatbelt guide, and they go in that other hole on the top of that same area where you just put in that upper bolt. Alright, now that you got your seatbelt guide in, you can go ahead and finish tightening down the bolts to the roll bar, and those are going to be 40 foot-pounds, as well as don't forget to reattach this to the car as well, and that is also 40 foot-pounds. So we've got our roll bar bolted to the frame. We've got our seatbelt guide in, and we've also tightened in this bolt for the lower seatbelt. The next thing we need to do is break out the drill, but I got to run to work right now, so I will pick this up when I get home. So I'm back, and now that we got the bolts on the inside tightened and torqued down, now we got to start drilling our holes. So what you want to do is get the car up on jack stands, give it a quick tug, make sure it's not going anywhere, and then begin by removing the rear wheels. And then there is a splash panel that is right here that we need to remove, and on the NA it is 4 10mm bolts. According to the instructions, we want to start by bolting in the rears of the bars first. And according to the instructions, what you want to do is start with this hole first. Now, I'm not going to be able to get my drill in here. So what I'm going to do is use a punch and try to punch a hole or a marker that I can see on the underside of the car, so I know where to drill my hole. And then I will drill it from the bottom, put in a bolt and the backing plate and kind of snug it down. And from there, I will drill the holes from the bottom using the backing plate as a template. Now the instructions said that you might need a super long drill bit, so I got one. Here goes one of the backing plates, and I'm just gonna match this up underneath, run a bolt through, kind of snug it down, so that way I can drill the next two holes. Alright, as you guys can see, I got my 3 bolts in. They're all drilled and torqued down, and you want to torque those down to 35 to 40 foot-pounds. So now I get to work on the other side. After you've gotten both sides and the rear done, now it's to the easy ones, which are the front plates right here, and these are just a simple 1 2 3, and then go on the back with the backing plates, tighten them down, do the other side, and you're done with the install part of this. And a little helpful hint as you're drilling, spray the flutes of your bit with some WD-40. It helps keep the flutes clean, helps keep them sharp, and it makes your drilling a whole lot easier. And these are the backing plates for these front mounts, and as you can see, they are bent just like this section. Especially, I'll show you guys in the wheel well how these fit up in there. The ones you use in the back are just flat, so you don't want to get these too confused. All right, now that you have all of your backing plates in, all your bolts in, all your holes drilled, everything's torqued down, go ahead, double check your torque settings, make sure that everything is bolted in tightly, make sure that there are no wires that may have gotten caught behind something. You know, just double check your work and make sure everything's up to spec. And the installation part is now done, at least for the roll bar anyway. They're still having to put the interior back together, and there are a couple of little things that you have to do with that. All right, give you guys a little heads up. When I went to go put the shelf tray panel back in the car, I did have to make a little relief cut right here for the driver's side because the down tube on that side hits this, so you have to just cut out a little U-shaped relief and then it'll fit fine. Alright, so the next little bit we gotta do for the interior is we have to trim these side panels. And basically what you're going to do is split this into two parts. And I'm basically going to start my cut about here and then follow it all the way down. So as you can see, got my seats in, roll bars in, all my interior braces are back in, whole interior is put back together. I'm saving the driver's side because I have a little project that I want to do before I put that side back together. Consider that my little bonus video that I'll do right after this. So, car's back together, well, one side of it. I have a little project that I am going to do. Consider that a little bonus video. It'll be directly after this. So, I hope you all learned something today. If you're going to do this yourself, take your time. It's taken me a little bit longer than I expected, but mostly because A, I'm working alone, and B, I'm filming it, so every time I decide to do something a little different, I had to change the camera. But I would recommend saving a project like this for the weekend. That way you can have a complete Saturday and can probably get it done. If not, you have an extra day on Sunday to finish it up. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Don't forget to click the little bell. I got that little extra project I'm going to get started on, so I will see you all on the next one.